All right, guys. So when I was sleeping last night, the patch preview for 3.1 came out. So I wanted to do a bit of a review on it. I have been going to bed at 8 p.m. every night, and I've been sleeping until like 6 because my son gets up at 6. So I am just like basically in the mode of like get up, get my son to nursery, do some reading with him in the morning, do his breakfast, blah, 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 come straight to work, finish work, cook dinner for the family, go to sleep. That is basically my life right now. I want to show you something cool, though. This came in the post. It's Excoundrel, 100,000 subscribers. And I'm going to put it up on the wall somewhere, but it came in the post yesterday after a year. But I'm so happy to have it. It's a nice, like, even if I go, you know, I don't want to give up YouTube, but like, even let's say a few years down the line, YouTube doesn't become a big thing for me anymore, which, you know, everyone's life moves on, right? I have this to remember it by. I have this to remember all you by as well, which is, you know, I'm going to keep this for the rest of my life. So I'm really happy. Yeah. Also, thanks to G2A for sponsoring the channel. Reference link in the description below. What I'm going to do is I'm basically going to listen with you guys. I'm going to talk about specific bits that I find interesting.
2022, including our upcoming priorities as a team and what you can expect from us this year. Let's dive right into the state of the game.
I can probably put it on slightly quieter, right? Because
we believe we've made some
we have the subtitles.
Over the past few patches, with game balance and champion balance in a decent
I actually think balance is in a pretty good place for this game right now, by the way.
That said, we hear you and know that there are still issues with game fairness, including AFK and intentional feeding. We also want to give you more visibility on when we penalize players based on your reports. These are really high priorities with the team, even if we don't have specific updates today.
So the TLDR is that they know there is matchmaking things, which are obviously trying to be worked on right now, and they know there is AFK and inting, but they're not going to tell you exactly what they're doing about it, but they're doing something. I guess that's a kind of a case of we'll wait and see what they have to say on that situation. You would hope that there is some sort of more specific measures coming in place, though. So
still working on releasing into South Asia as well as our console version of the game, but we won't have any updates on those in 2022. We appreciate your patience while we're working through these.
Does South Asia count as India? Because I get the impression that they've run into some kind of roadblocks with releasing. I don't know what those roadblocks will be. Here's my view, right? As someone, I know a lot of Indian community wants the game, and they really, really want the game. But here's my view on the subject. There is no way that they wouldn't release in one of the biggest mobile markets in the world if they didn't have a good reason as to why they couldn't. That's my thought on the process. Like, Riot as a company almost certainly wants to get this into the hands of Indians, because it's like they are like one of the biggest mobile markets on the entire planet. So they almost certainly want to get this into India. But there is something that's stopping them. They can't say what's stopping them, because maybe it's legal related or to do with like government guidelines. I don't know. But there's no way they would intentionally not release this in India, because Indians are like some of the biggest mobile gamers on the planet. So obviously they want to get this over to India. That's my personal opinion anyway. It's the only thing that makes sense to me business-wise, because there's no way they would intentionally ignore that market. If they could just release it like that, I'm sure they would have done. But I guess we have to wait and see what the blockers are.
And we look forward to providing more news when we can. Today, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about gameplay.
Good, I love
Looking
gameplay.
At patch 3.1, we're taking a big step forward with our largest gameplay overhaul yet.
Are you?
Wildrift is going elemental.
Oh, elemental dragons. Okay, yeah, we talked about this in the last time, right?
Elemental Rift is an evolution of the current Wildrift map, adapting the dragon and terrain mechanics from League PC,
with a few streamlined changes.
This will look a little different from what you saw in January, because we're looking to achieve a few new things.
Interesting.
In addition to team comps, runes, and item builds, we want to make games play out differently each time.
Right.
Between objective team coordination and individual ability to impact a game, Elemental Rift will give us more tools to make sure that the game remains dynamic and fun.
Dynamic and fun.
We're also looking to even out the gap between coordinated teams and solo players. We have a few ideas on how we can achieve this, and trying a variety of changes in the future will help us hit these goals in the most satisfying way possible.
Okay.
With a huge change like this, We want to be prepared to make adjustments, so we're thinking of Elemental Rift as part of a testing phase. In patch 3.2, you might see a version of it that looks very different from what you'll see today because we're still exploring different options and deciding what will work best.
All right.
Wherever we land, we'll be keeping a close eye on the effects of these changes, and we're looking forward to hearing your feedback.
So basically, the Elemental they were going to release is they're going to see whether you like it and what your feedback is.
Unique buff, but taking enough dragons also grants the Dragon's Soul, a powerful buff that matches one of the dragon's elements. We're still working on how many kills it should take, but in this test run, Dragon's Soul will trigger after the 3rd dragon, so you'll be able to obtain 3 buffs along with your soul. Infernal Dragon now grants bonus attack damage and ability power, and the Infernal Soul creates explosions around your abilities and attacks, dealing bonus adaptive damage in a circle around.
That's the same as the PC version then, so Infernal Soul is probably considered one of the most powerful souls.
Magic resist, and the Mountain Soul grants a shield after not taking damage for a short while.
Okay.
Ocean Dragon restores health over time, and Ocean Soul restores more health when dealing damage to enemies.
Ooh, Ocean Soul actually becomes... Well, Ocean Dragons become way more useful in the next patch, though.
Match the element of the rift. You'll always know which dragon type is coming next before it spawns, so you can prepare to fight for it or trade a different objective if it doesn't fit your team comp. You might have noticed that we didn't cover one element. With the arrival of Elemental Rift, we're removing Cloud Dragon.
Okay. Bye.
During our playtest,
I love the
we
little
felt
meme
Cloud
there.
Dragon offered mostly hidden power that was hard to notice in-game, making it less interesting to play around and less enticing for objective-minded teams. Without Cloud Dragon, we'll have extra space for the more exciting...
Okay, so we just have 3 types of dragons now, so they're removing a dragon entirely.
Dragons, Rift Herald and Baron spawn later in the game, and dragons will be a bit easier to take. By building more time into objective spawns, we're hoping to strike a better balance between team performance and individual play.
Do you remember...
We'll have more options to choose how they...
Do you remember, if you watched my podcast, do you remember that End Step talked about this specifically? Delaying objective timer spawns, so you have a little bit more time in lane to do your thing. And that's what I like. I like that change. I don't like that, you know, you get to this 4-minute mark and then suddenly it's like, okay, go take objectives or lose the game. I think delaying those spawns a little bit was going to give you a bit more time to shine in lane and express your individual power, which I quite like.
They want to play the early game rather than needing to rush the objective.
Yeah, I like that. Really, really like that.
We've also totally revamped Elder Dragon, making it much closer to its League PC kin. After the Dragon Soul has been taken by a team, Elder Dragons will be up for grabs, offering a game-ending true damage burn effect and executing enemies when they drop to low health.
So I always thought that whilst Elder Dragon was...
time to fight.
Well, I always thought that whilst Elder Dragon was good on Wildrift, you never really felt the power specifically. This is all stuff that N-Step talked about in our podcast with him, by the way. Whilst Elder Dragon felt good in Wildrift, you never really felt the power. Trust me, you are going to feel the power of the new Elder Dragon. If it's like, watch this.
Is slain in each game,
you just like the Elder Dragon just comes up and just like burns them at like
new gameplay opportunities that match the
less than 20% HP and they're just dead.
The Infernal Rift burns away brush and opens new pathways to red and blue buff. This can offer an advantage to the winning team for deep warding and aggressive invades, but also means the path back to your base is much shorter. The Mountain Rift forges new terrain in the jungle, as well as a defensive wall in the front of the Dragon Pit. This rift offers new flanking routes and ways to force your opponents into a bottleneck for an AoE explosion.
Hey,
the
pretty cool.
Ocean Rift spawns more brush across the map with bumper crops of honeyfruit. Use the brushes for surprise ambushes, or just put on some rainy lo-fi beats and heal up for the next fight. Whether you're hopeful or nostalgic, we know there are many gameplay elements that players love about this map, and we aspire to keep the spirit of the Rift true for Wildrift players. However, we're also hoping to address some of the gameplay pain points you may have encountered. So, we'll be testing this Rift during limited time windows in a totally separate queue during patches 3.1 and 3.2. This will allow us to monitor and make adjustments before it replaces the existing Wildrift.
So it's not going to be, you can't play ranked on this, I imagine.
3.3 later this year. Until then, enjoy the current rift in ranked and esports broadcasts as we head towards the Icons Global Championship.
Oh, okay.
And again, we're exploring versions of Elemental Rift that might look different from this one.
So basically, it's going to be like a limited
PC.
test.
Expect to hear more about that in the future.
The only problem with putting Elemental Rift as a limited test mode is that you're not going to get a huge amount of data because people are still going to want to play ranked, right? People are still going to want to grind the rank ladder. But I mean, it's just my personal opinion. I think it just feels like now this is going to be quite a way out, and I understand they want to test it, but also feels like people aren't going to play it compared to ranked, right? Most of the time, ranked will still be your most popular mode.
Looking forward to seeing how your games play out with raw elemental power at your disposal, and we can't wait to hear your feedback on these changes when they roll out for testing. Shen, the Eye of Twilight.
Nice. I'm very excited about Shen.
wields his blades of steel and spirit to protect Ionia and its allies in the Barren Lane.
You can also play him
His
jungle,
Spirit
by the way.
Blade follows him and grants him more damage against his foes and protection when his team needs it most. Shen isn't a particularly stealthy Kinku, but he makes up for it with defensive options
He's
and
got his
hard
taunt.
crowd control.
He's got his
Slide
area
on into the enemy
of
team's
effect
totem
that stops you
and
getting
block
base
basic
attacked.
attacks with Spirit's Refuge to nullify enemy carries. With
You can do the cross map thing.
To stand united with allies from anywhere on the map, Shen maintains the balance for his team at any cost.
Okay, Shen's going to be
Tipping the scales
awesome.
in support and mid lane, Karma, the Enlightened One, empowers her teammates and slows her foes.
Karma's
Karma
model
has a
looks
couple
cool.
of changes from her PC version, with a greater focus on her Battle Mage playstyle. We thought we'd go into a little more detail with Karma to highlight some of her differences. First up, we've moved Karma's ultimate to her passive. Every spell Karma casts, she gains a stack
Okay,
of mantra.
that's the most
Three
League
stacks,
of
and
Legends
next
thing
ability
ever.
is
We've moved her
empowered.
ultimate to her passive.
Inner Flame fires a blast of energy, dealing damage and slowing enemies. When empowered, it leaves a slow field.
Yeah, that's the same as the
which
PC
explodes
then,
a
but
second
obviously you
time.
just get it on the third custom and ability.
Focused Resolve now tethers up to 2 nearby champions.
Okay,
if those
so
champions fail to escape the tether range, they're rooted for a short
she legitimately just gets a Morgana ultimate on her third ability, by the way.
time. When empowered, this ability forms an additional tether, forcing those enemies to scatter. If any of
Wow.
the tethers aren't broken in time, the enemies get a mega root for a longer period.
That's very cool.
Karma's third ability, Inspire, grants an ally a shield that offers movement speed. Under the effect of Mantra, the shield could empower an additional nearby ally.
Oh, so it can only
Finally,
it can only empower
Karma's
2
brand new
allies.
ultimate, Transcendent Embrace, forms a ring of spirit energy, dealing damage, slowing, and knocking enemies into the center if they're caught on the edge.
That sounds
We want to
broken.
give Karma players more ways to control her enemies throughout the game, and Transcendent Embrace is the
Okay,
centerpiece
Karma's
of that
suddenly
playstyle.
got significantly
testing,
more
we
interesting
thought
as a
it was
champion.
better.
I thought she was going to be
While
boring.
This year is starting off
She's
a
got
little quieter,
significantly more
we're going to
interesting as a
ramp up
champion.
the amount of champs later in 2022, and we wanted to give you a small taste of who you can expect. This year, we've started with Peace, Harmony, and Fluffy Cats.
Yep.
But 2022 is the year of the Edgelord. Later this year, we'll be revisiting some battle-scarred locations in Runeterra. Next up, we're heading to Zorn, Bilgewater, and Noxus. Nothing personal, kid. We'll see you there. Our mission this year for Game
So I'm trying to think who we're gonna get. Nothing personal, kid, is like the teleport behind you meme. Maybe that's Kane. Maybe we see Kane coming to Wildrift, which I think Kane's very likely to get transferred into Wildrift because he's very popular, and I think the UI for him wouldn't be too hard to do. So Kane could be coming, that's for certain. Trying to think what nothing personal could be. Zorn, Noxus, and Piltover. Was it Piltover? I can't remember. Let's have a look. Zorn, Bilgewater, and Noxus. Swain, maybe, for Noxus, because I'm trying to think what other big Noxian champions I'm hoping Scion. I'm really hoping Scion. Like, really, really want Scion to come to the to Wildrift. But hey, there we go.
this year
I'm
for
sure
gameplay
Kane's got to
is
be one
make
of them,
games
though,
more
right?
Satisfying and motivating to play. So we're focusing on competition, social play, skill, and challenge. That sounds pretty broad, but giving you more freedom and skill expression in your games is a huge part of that effort. And of course, keeping the game balanced is a top priority too. We're giving more options to fighters in this patch with the introduction of new items. Divine Sunderer is the perfect option looking to brawl.
Divine Sunderer, okay, that's a really nice addition. Like, let's think about it. Irelia's gonna love it, Nasus is gonna love it, Set's gonna love it. Who else uses Divine Sunderer regularly? Is it like it could be a Renekton item maybe?
Maximum health as bonus damage.
That's pretty cool. Divine Sunderer is a really, really nice addition. Really, really great addition. It's super awesome, as you can see, for people like Set. Hullbreaker. Damn, they're bringing like loads of like the new items from PC, but keeping it like hybrid with some of the old items. That's pretty cool.
Mini boost to nearby minions, so they can keep you company on your split.
So split pushing could be a viable strategy in 3.1.
We're making some small changes to other items. Fimbulwinter will be more closely aligned with its PC version, offering its trademark shield on slows as well as hard crowd control.
Nice.
Death Stance is becoming an AD and armor item, as we felt that there were too many unimpactful choices offered by the AD and health items in Wildrift.
AD and armor sounds pretty nutty, actually.
Intended purpose, we're reworking Solari Charge Blaze passive to make it more appealing to monks. Hextech Mega Drive is getting a significant
I don't know what that
buff
means.
for champions that can pull off several stuns at once, like Morgana or Alistar.
Oh, nice.
Pulling off the perfect CC chain could mean you get to cast your active item multiple times in a fight.
Nice.
In addition to a whole host
everything that I wanted is happening.
Support role. We know supports have needed more love for a while, so in this update,
everything that I wanted is happening.
Summoner spells to give players more active options in the laning phase and in teamfights.
Okay.
First, we're strengthening the initial slow on exhaust to give more offensive and defensive options.
Nice, that's good. That's quite nice.
Heal will now grant more health to the healed ally and less to the user.
All right, that's good.
And Ignite is retuned to be more effective in the early game and weaker in the late game.
Nice. I think that's good because Ignite's supposed to be a snowball.
2022 is theming our major patches to address specific game balance or systemic changes. Next patch, we're hoping to have some updates on map vision, and we're also looking at the impact of our current rune set.
Okay.
Which system should we look at next? Leave us some suggestions in the comments.
Everyone's going to say the punishment system. Everyone.
100%ly
everyone.
Will soon be underway, and that means there's a new glorious skin up for grabs. Just make sure she doesn't grab you first.
Okay, cool. Evelyn gets
the
the
new
skin.
year of Ranked, we're giving the Glorious theme a makeover. Glorious Crimson Evelyn is your skin reward for this season. The best is, don't let her flop. Starting with Evelyn, you can also grab what we're calling a weapon augment for glorious skins in the Ranked store to serve even harder.
Oh,
this
damn.
visual update empowers the Chosen Champ's source of power to recognize your commitment to the climb.
Cool.
With our explorations coming to an end, many mysteries are still left unsolved. Thankfully, we've hired some private expertise, as Psychic Detective Senna is on the case and making her debut in this wild past, just in time to help us get to the bottom of this mind-bending world.
That's pretty cool. That is a cool skin.
In Champ Select, if you're in the jungle, you'll now automatically be assigned Smite.
Great.
This way, you won't face final boss level 1 red buff if you accidentally switched away.
Nice. Okay, automatically.
We're introducing the news tab. Patch notes, game news, community events, esports and videos are now easily accessible through the app.
Oh, awesome. That's really nice. That is really cool.
As we mentioned in January, we're going to be running more events this year with less downtime between each one. But part of that is going to be varying the types of events we run and experimenting with different ways to play. To give you a taste of what's happening later this year in Wildrift, we'll be revisiting High Noon, Pool Party, Pulsefire, and maybe even further beyond, further beyond, further beyond, further beyond. Sorry, I got distracted. Our biggest focuses this year will be on our shared moments with League PC, like Lunar New Year. We'll collaborate a few times a year on huge, unforgettable moments with new skins, stories, and more. Those larger events will stay under wraps for now. Now, let's get back to it and showcase some of the skins headed your way in patch 3.1.
Skins. Sword and Karma. Yep, Karma and Chen skins. Cool, cool, cool. Pretty Rengar. Fury Horn cosplay Vigar. Sweet. For a neck toy. That's cool, dude. That is hella cool. Pajama Garden Ezreal. He dabbed, didn't he? Pajama Guardian Lux. Marauder Graves. Pretty basic skin. Marauder Brand. Also kind of basic skin.
We'll be back in May with more updates and announcements. We wish you good luck on your climb, harness the power of dragons, and get ready to defend Runeterra's connection to the spirit realm. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you on the Rift.
Anything funny at the end? No, no funny endings. No funny endings this time. Very cool. Very, very cool. I think there's a lot of things that are really good about this. The new items are quite nice. I'm looking forward to the... Oh, it's going straight onto some esports. There you go. Esports on your screen. New items, new runes coming later. I'm a little sad that the elemental rift's not getting implemented until at least 3.2 or 3.3. I can't remember what he said, but it's going to be a little later in this year, which does feel a little bit like a wait, but nonetheless, still okay. Generally really happy with this, though. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff in this patch preview, and I'm very much looking forward to 3.1 now. What do you guys think? Let me know. I think there's lots of cool additions, but what's your favorite thing? Obviously, there's some bad news, like they're not sure about India release, but like I mentioned, I don't know. Like, I genuinely think that if they could have released in India, they obviously would have wanted to, because it's one of the biggest markets. So I just think there must be something else that's stopping them from doing it. But there we go, guys. Right, enjoy. I am going to go and do work now because it's 8:52 and I start at 9. So see you soon.